Hello everyone, this is Laco S, and welcome back to DCS World. Today we're doing a first impressions video of the F-15E, which you can see is now on the toolbar down here. So, with that being said, let's go ahead here now and set wallpaper and see what it's like. So F-15E, the F-15E is a dual-role fighter designed to perform air-to-air and air-to-ground missions. An array of avionics and electronic systems gives the F-15E the capability to fight at low altitude, day or night, and in all weather. And a whole bunch of other stuff, so here we go. Alright, so it just uses the basic DCS module music. Really interesting shot of it refueling. That's an interesting choice of shot for the background, which I like. So let's go here into mission. First off, let's go into settings. Let's go into options. Let's see here, special. I want to see something because they okay, so that cleared that out. Okay, they cleared out because sometimes people were if you have problems authorizing your modules, and some people were yesterday, it'll go in here and switch things out. So. Just wanted to use that. Then we'll double check to make sure all my other modules are good to go for special options. Special for F-15E, control customization, total cutoff, setting all the detents, and force feedback, which I don't have. Oh, radar, randomized radar channel at spawn. We'll go ahead and do that because I know if you're on multiplayer and you don't use the default radar. You'll actually interfere with everyone else. So we'll randomize that radar channel at spawn just to keep things interesting. I don't think it has any effects other than just making sure that you're not on the same channel as someone else. Huh. Says I guess that this is for the view, which is interesting. But we don't have to worry about that. Or we can adjust it after we see what our view is like in game. Enable ghost control. So I guess this is if you look down and you can actually see through your hand to like flip controls. We'll just leave that off. We'll just for the moment we'll just switch off the pilot body on and off, and that'd be probably a better way to just do things. Oh, that's right. You could actually change how many threads the F-15E uses. So. We'll go for a max background threads of 8. See if that gives us a little bit of a boost. Alright, so that's that for special options. Let's go to mission editor. Actually, so I'm gonna have to see here. Ooh, that's a cool loading screen. Alright, we're finally in the mission editor, and I'm here because I want to see what's this like. So these are all my F-16 squadrons up there. I know I had my F-15s down here. Here we go. Well, I know what I'm doing in the future. I'm probably gonna do this mission. I'll probably move all these Mirage 2000s on this mission, like further up, so we can put our 15s down in here. But we'll go ahead and, for the moment, just because we're doing a first impressions video, we'll just put this F-15E right here. So USA, close air support, F-15E. So if you're in the mission editor, it's going to be F-15, not F-15E. This is the old version that's in the game. It'll be F-15E S4 Plus. Set it to player. Now here we go. Just loading this all in. Alright, we're going to take a look at some of the skins and some of the options in here, and then we'll get this aircraft set up for a hot start, and then we'll do our first impressions of actually the flight in the hot start, so... Holy crap, there's actually a decent number of skins. Okay. Let the aircraft load in a bit more. Let's see what options we have. So, so it does look like actually on the F-15E model, you can remove actually the targeting pod and navigation pod. So that's neat. That's good to know if we want to go for a clean loadout, for a more quote-unquote clean loadout. See here, so these are all the not all the area loadouts. These are just some of the loadouts they've made so far. So let's go ahead and make a new loadout just to see what we can do. So let's see here. Looks like we got captive AIM-9s for training, which is good. Your J, L, M, and P models of Sidewinders. You can always go... It's interesting we can go back to a J model. So Sidewinders there. Practice bombs, which is good. GPU 10s on the... Which makes sense, because mounting something like an AIM... I don't think you can mount an AIM-9. Yep. So that's going to be an interesting thing to note. You can't mount, like, bombs on here with air-to-air ordnance. Goodness, air-to-air ordnance there. So there's a shoot variant of the bomb, but it's a training variant, which is interesting. Oh, they even have travel pods, which are always fun. Fuel tanks. Okay, remove pylon. Oh, so removing pylon 8 actually removes it from 8B and 8A. So you don't actually get anything on that. Interesting. Interesting. Remove payload. So the only pylons that you can remove are the center pylon and then the wing pylons, which makes sense that these are part of the aircraft. Okay. That's interesting. We'll go ahead and add on fuel tanks. Now add on a third fuel tank as well for giggles. So it looks like the center pylon here on either side can carry the most amount of ordnance. It's because it is the way it's structured. So C is in the front. No, sorry. Interesting. Oh, I see. So I guess it's so 7C and 6C are these are different mounting options for air missiles. So you might not be able to it's not like each of these individual connections have their own waypoint number. Interesting. Okay, that's interesting. So, you're not going to have your ability to choose, like, that one has one bomb, that one has one bomb, that one has one bomb. They're all going to, you have to choose it from the options you have in RCTF, and I guess also that'll go on the other side for left CTF. Oh, hey, are these Durandals? Yeah, those are Durandals. That's neat. Get practice bombs up here. All right. So we have anti-runway bombs on either, and then obviously what's over here on the right is copied over to the left. So something that I'm noticing, and which kind of makes sense than what I suspected for the longest while, is that there's no rocket pods on this on the F-15E Strike Eagle. It's very much a bomb-only aircraft, which kind of makes sense. There's not really a lot of the, because all the weapon pylons are in a from tail to nose, so it's not like you can mount a rocket pod here and expect it to fire forward, because it'll just fire into the ordnance in front of it. So makes sense that the F-15E is, yeah, it's a CAS aircraft. I mean, it can be used for close air support and like ground attack, but it's very much meant in the sense for you to use it as a bomber. Interesting. Alright, so what it looks like is very much that 7C and 6C you want to use if you're not using the RCTF pylons for air-to-ground ordnance. So 6C, 7C, and then 4C and 3C. These are all your air-to-air ordnance pylons. And then if you want to set up for air-to-ground, you can't have anything on those, and then you'll just go to RCTF, and then RCTF will set up your air-to-ground weapons. But it looks like I don't know if it's a DCSism or probably not, but you could only have one type of weapon on those CTFs, so no mixed CTF loadouts. Which is fine. You know what? Hold on, let's see. Let's see if doing this will automatically get rid of... Yep, it'll automatically get rid of those, so that's fine. Oh, now that's interesting. Data link pod. That'll probably come in handy for later, but we'll just put it on right now just for fun. Alright, let's take a look at some of the skins and then get to see what special options there are and we'll get hang out. So, high vis, water markings for this one, clean. Oh, just to go out for like all the decals to load in. There we go, and then yeah, that's what I thought it was. That's what I thought it was. Truly, we have... the memers have taken over. So let's see all the other memes, skins. Ooh, that one's fun. Oh, God. Hey, Billy the Kid! He actually has his own skin in the game. Vader. That one's pretty cool. Oh, Green Goblin's in. You could tell someone had fun with that one. Let's see what this, okay, this is a fun skin. Alright. Yep. Okay, so now this is cool. This is actually useful. The GBU laser codes and the special options, they set their GBU codes up for each individual station and or weapon pylons area. So Station 2 has, you can set up separate laser codes for each of these stations. So that's actually going to come really in handy if you want to get, if you want to change up your GBU codes, or if you want to have like several options for like different people. That's useful. I got a solo flight for multiplayer. Pilot is the has the control. You can disable multi-crew, which is probably going to come in handy if on certain. I don't know. This is from the mission editor though. It might come in handy depending on how you want to set up your aircraft. So this is the how much time it's been airborne in minutes for your alignment. Code aircraft is an alert status. That's interesting. So it probably sets up some of the aircraft systems up slightly differently, probably for alignment. Cold aircraft needs needs alignment. Guess that's equipping the night vision goggles, so leave everything as is because we're doing a daytime flight. This is all interesting stuff. Alright, we'll do that. Skin just because we can, and then we'll do takeoff from ground. Hot. Save it. And then do fly mission. Hello everyone, so I wouldn't necessarily call this a first impressions video at this point. What had happened was after I left you guys off, that bit was recorded on Friday. In the intermediary days, this being Tuesday, basically I was unable to load into the Strike Eagle. Yeah, game crashed every time it got to like world load or world preload 1 out of 60, and the game would crash. Tried everything, uninstalled the game, reinstalled it multiple times, uninstalled the game, reinstalled it multiple times, unloaded and reloaded mods. Unloaded mods, reinstalled the game, unloaded and reloaded the F-15E multiple times for multiple installs. Yeah, it turns out that I had to format my SSD that DCS was installed on, and now I'm actually having not only was I able to get into the F-15E, I actually managed to somehow increase stability overall. So, yeah, go me. Formatting the SSD drive, something that no one thought of. It took a lot of people. It took Metal to Mesh from Razbam actually came in and helped me. He helped me get in contact with some like the Razbam coders, and then they sort of like they gave me some information, and then I took that and I realized, wait, what if I try this? And then I figured formatting the drive after checking the drive because the SSD had no errors on it. Figured formatting the drive would be a Hail Mary nuke, and well, the Hail Mary nuke worked. So. I will admit that part of my first impressions of this are going to be colored by several days of hair tearing out, mind-numbing frustration, and wanting to cry. Also will admit I'm hearing quite a lot of bugs in the Strike Eagle, so it's kind of a little annoying that they kept on telling us that it was at Clark here, that it was like a state of soon for all, like almost like half a year, over nearly yeah, actually technically around like half a year at this point, and then like it releases with so many bugs and so few things. But you know what? It looks great. I will say visually the Strike Eagle looks good. Visually it looks good, and we're about to take it off for a spin. And really, honestly, I will say that like, even though it is kind of a little annoying that it does release kind of like not with a lot of weapons and so many bugs, I do say that I don't fault them, however, for any multiplayer bugs and desync that has appeared. I noticed even with Star Citizen, a lot of the devs in coming from Star Citizen, a lot of the devs have told us from there, basically when it comes to multiplayer games and any multiplayer functionality of games, you're only going to find multiplayer bugs and desync when you have massive numbers of players all over the world testing it online. It's just, there's no way to really replicate that reliably in the lab or at your home PC, so all I can say is just keep on feeding Razbam information as you see them, send in your crash reports, send in your desync issues. If they have any ideas for like clearing out your saved games folder, do that. Just give them basically as much information as you can, and let them look at the real-world data, and they'll eventually get around to fixing the bugs. They've done a really good job with the Mirage 2000 and the AV-AP Harrier, and even the South Atlantic map. They're doing a really good job with their modules now, so It's gonna be it's gonna take a while to get the Strike Eagle into a good shape, but they'll get into a good shape. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take off now. Get a bit of first impressions video of how this thing flies. It's a clean Strike Eagle, no weapons. I was honestly expecting this to fail, so I figured I wouldn't even bother putting any weapons on this. So no takeoff tutorial, nothing like that. Figured, what the hell, might as well just give this a shot. Got a burner. I don't even have controls set up. These are the default controls they decided to give me with my aircraft, but so we're gonna have a lot of fun. So there is quite a bit of stuttering, but I would not blame this on the Strike Eagle, mainly because right now the problem is this is very much a clean install. Like I said, I nuked, and I mean I nuked my DCS World install. So that means I basically have no shaders built up, nothing of that sort. So as I am flying around for the very first time in the Caucasus map, it's going to struggle and chug along a little bit, because it has to, I think, build the shaders and build up the game files as I fly around. And then if I were to fly this next time or in the future, everything will be built up and it'll be good to go. Forget that this lake is to the north and east of Kataisi Air Base. So whoa. So something I've noticed first with the Strike Eagle is that she does not like being on her side. Again, this is straight from this takeoff, by the way, is straight from runway. I did a runway takeoff. I didn't do a cold start or anything like that, so there is that. Yeah, Strike Eagle doesn't seem to like being on her side. Yeah, you put her like on her side and she really does not starts nosing down. She also doesn't like being slow. And honestly, that's kind of to be expected. I like the Strike Eagle, but I don't love it, kind of because it's a very chunky it's a chunky bird that was never originally intended to be chunky, so to speak. So like your A10s, like your standard A series aircraft, like A1 Skyraider, A6E Intruder, A10 Warthog, A7 Corsair to a certain extent, A4 Skyhawk also to a certain extent, but definitely the A1, the A6, and the A10. They're subsonic, but you also notice they have a giant wing loading area. So they have a lot of, so they're not necessarily reliant on engine power to get aboard and stay airborne. They have a large wing area to keep them and give them lots of lift. Kind of what I worried about with the Strike Eagle here is that it's very much in the vein of the F-4E Phantom, where McDonnell Douglas decided, hey, we'll just give you lots of power, and that's how you're going to fly. So it's very much something that, unlike other ground attack aircraft, you don't want to fly this low. You don't want to fly this aircraft slow. It's stubby little wings, and huge mass means you're going to need to fly fast to keep up your airspeed. So she's not going to fly like any other attack aircraft. Now, that being said, I've heard some people say this is kind of like, its original intent, by the way, is to be sort of like the Viggen. So I wouldn't be surprised if you're not gonna really fly this. Like, it's not originally intended to fly like at 3,000 feet, plinking bombs like an A-10. Like it's supposed to, or anything like that. You're supposed to be very much like on the deck, flying near Mach, flying near Mach 1, almost transonic on the deck, flying around, getting low into your target, dropping your bombs, one pass, haul ass type of tactics. So I'm not surprised with flying her as I am right now, that's not that she's intended to fly like that. And I do want to try something. I don't want to fly for too long. So when we end this flight, I am going to try over-G'ing the wings. I heard that's actually implemented, so first we're going to try to get slow again, and we're going to do pull down. Now the thing is, I don't know if that 9G is something that I pulled or not. I want to say I didn't pull 9G. Because that would have bent the wings. Let's see something here. No, the wings look relatively level, as far as I can tell. And even though it's a pretty hefty model, I think Metal to Mesh told me that. So, let's talk to now because it's really loud out exterior. I have to go in and readjust my volumes. By the way, again, brand new install. Literally, I just installed the game and try to get the F-15E working. So I'm gonna go in and readjust my volume there. But Metal to Mesh did tell me that we're talking like he would think it was like 2.5 gigabytes for the cockpit in here, and then out exterior was 2 gigabytes. So even then, it's still whatever optimizations they did to make it work, it's still pretty hefty. Still pretty good. Now I don't fly in 4K. I do have HD, but I don't have 4K graphics. I'd have quote unquote the next step down. It's still high definition. It's not 720. It's 180, I think, or 1280.
Low altitude. Low altitude.
I know, low altitude, low altitude. This is very much a it's like I think it's like 128 by 720 or 1980 by or something. I forget I'll remember it later, but it's not exactly. I'm not exactly flying at 4K. Still a high definition, but not 4K. And my 3060 Ti is keeping up on the Caucasus map at a good 60-65 frames, external and internal. And I'm gonna say right now,
low altitude.
And I'm gonna say right now that I suspect that the stuttering right now might be less to do with the cockpit and more to do with the fact that I'm flying in areas of the map in the world that I don't have shaders built for yet. So as I build the shaders and I fly around more, I'll have better chances to rebuild DC, to build them out, and then future flights will be a lot smoother. Something I would recommend to reduce stuttering in the cockpit, at the beginning of the mission, I did this, where I looked around the cockpit, and after I did that a couple of times, it built up, I guess, like the shader profile and like all the stuff from memory, and then once it did that, I've had not a single problem with FPS dropping. So I'd say that's good work on Razmam's part. They are doing things to make the to make this aircraft usable. Obviously, I know that there's a couple of crashes with some other things, but that'll come in due time. Interior, by the way, looks really good. Lots of really like this isn't just like one flat texture. It's like there's a little bit of depth with like scratches and the like. Lighting looks pretty good and well detailed. Like it feels like very much like it's like been lightly used, and that's kind of like my favorite style of cockpit. Like the Tomcat kind of looks pretty beat up, and it being a carrier aircraft, it probably would have been definitely used and a little bit more worn out, but as opposed to an Air Force jet. But this looks like it's just slightly lived in, and it looks really good. There we go. So, alright. We're at 400 knots. 480 knots. So, alright. It's a little bit of stuttering again, but again, I'm not 100% certain if that stuttering is DCS right now, or if it's the Strike Eagle, but I'm, again, pretty certain it's more to do with DCS and the Caucasus map, having to rebuild it from scratch. Even some of the textures, by the way, here are probably not as high as I run them, so it's also probably leading to my higher FPS, is that a lot of these textures here aren't set to my normal settings. I wasn't, like I said, I seriously wasn't planning or even intending on this running. I seriously thought, like, my formatting of the drive would not fix anything, and it turns out that fixed it, so I'll probably go in and give a proper review, and I might do a review further down the line when the F-15E is a bit more fixed up and a bit more fully fledged out, and I might do a review of, like, a full and proper check-in on, see how well it performs and all that other stuff. So we're gonna end this video right about now. Yeah, with a high-speed like turning path, high-speed mountain flying, and I do have to say that it does definitely feel like a weighty bird. There's definitely quite a lot of mass behind this bird. Obviously, I'm not a Strike Eagle pilot IRL, so I wouldn't know that. I wouldn't know how it really flies, but it feels like very much like it's not quite on rails. It definitely flies differently, say, to a Tomcat or a Viper or a Hornet, so definitely feels right.
Low altitude. Low altitude.
Again, a bit more stuttering, so.
Low altitude. Low altitude.
Alright, 712 seems like that's our limit. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna see if we can damage the wings like people were saying they could.
Low altitude.
In 3, 2, 1.
Over G. Over G. Over G. Over G.
Alright. So I did see our G meters peak to 11, and we did quote-unquote over G. And our aircraft seems to be flying a little bit weird. Alright, did I bend the wings? I think I bent the wings. Yeah, because it's not flying quite right. Now, granted, I have Afterburner on, and it's still, like... Let's go to external view, so hopefully this doesn't get too loud. Okay, so I might have bent them slightly, but I can't really tell. It might be because also my Strike Eagle has no load on the wings to bend them, so that could be very well it. Alright, I'm just trying something silly right now, see if I can't get this to do some like weird aerobatic maneuver. Or stall, or some crazy kind of spin.
Y'all rate.
So it does look like the F-15E is actually decently able to recover, so we'll leave the video there for right now. It's going to take me a while to learn all the systems. This is not a very simple aircraft by any stretch of the imagination, and I'm quite sure as time goes on, they'll revise systems, update systems, do things like that. So, overall, first impressions, definitely a rough start with some of the multiplayer bugs and the fact that you kind of have to man everything kind of by yourself, unless you have a Rio or weapon system officer in the back. So there's a bit of that going on. But otherwise, it's actually pretty... I can definitely see myself flying this every once in a blue moon. Like I said, I never really was a Strike Eagle fan. I always thought it was a bit weird to have like a second pilot, like a Wizzo, doing stuff in the Strike Eagle, especially because it seems like the pilot can do everything, and just seems like it adds more mass. That, having the Wizzo, the second seater, and like the fuel tanks, like it felt like it kind of like distracted from like the F-15, and the fact it just seemed like it added a whole bunch of extra weight for not a whole lot of gain. But now that I'm in this the pilot seat and flying it, I might have to give this a try. So actually, this is actually starting to convert me possibly into a Strike Eagle appreciator, if not a fan. I've always been a fan of the more dedicated Strike platforms, but I could probably get into this. And with that note, I will probably say that with all the bugs and all the stuff going on, if you do love the Strike Eagle and you are very tolerant of bugs, I would say this is definitely something you can pick up and consider. If you're not a fan of bugs and overly complicated modules, I'd give this a pass for the moment. There are a good series of tutorials going on, but definitely this is A10 levels of complicated, so would not recommend this for a new pilot, and even I'm probably going to struggle somewhat with the systems, particularly because I do honestly think this is going to be an aircraft where you're going, like, sort of like with the Tomcat, you need a pilot in order to fly the aircraft, so if you want to, so that you actually have someone flying the aircraft while you learn the back seat. So that's going to be interesting. But yeah, otherwise, other than that, I think we have the future looks pretty good for the Strike Eagle. It's just gonna you're just gonna need some time to actually sit down and let Razbam do their job and try to learn it as best as you can in the meanwhile. So meantime, so enough rambling. This is Loco S signing out.